When I am asked how often should the filter be changed, I have to always answer with the truth. It depends. It depends on how big the unit is. It depends on the size of the filter. Depends on the thickness of the filter. It depends on how often you run the air conditioning system. And it depends on how dirty the house is. Let's be honest. Filter changes are going to be different for just about everybody's home. So sometimes the filter is going to get dirtier at different times of the year, and you're going to have to just keep an eye on that kind of thing. My idea on filters is there's two types of filters. There's screens and there's bricks. On a screen, the air passes through very, very easily, and also the dust passes through very easily. On a brick, the brick's going to stop all the dust. It's going to stop all the dust from going through, but it's also going to stop all the air from going through. So somewhere in between there, we need to be able to find a filter that's going to allow enough air to go through to air condition the house properly, but also be restrictive enough to stop some of the dust that's going through. Now, how much dust you want captured is going to depend on the type of filter that you want to use on your air conditioning system. The blower is like our lungs. Our blower has to move air from the house through the blower, through the ductwork, and then back into our home again. That's going to do a great job of moving the air side of our air conditioning system. The compressor is like our heart. It's going to pump the refrigerant around or the blood around in our system. So the blower and our compressor have to work together. If I'm not breathing properly, my lungs are going to be working as efficiently, and they're going to have to work harder, which causes my compressor or my heart to work harder. So the more restrictive of a filter that I have, or the dirtier the filter that I get, the harder the compressor has to work. The harder the compressor has to work, the higher the utility bill gets. So the higher the bill, when you get that high utility bill in, the first thing you're thinking of is my air conditioner ran a lot this month, or something's wrong with my air conditioner. Every time you get your utility bill in, it should bring to mind that it's time to be looking at the filter to check to see whether it needs to be replaced or not. Now, getting into the filter types is going to determine how often it needs to be changed and how much filtration is actually going to happen, how many of the particles that are in the air, and how small the particles are that it can take care of. They're all rated in MERV ratings, and the MERV is typically a 1 through 16. So when you look on the far left side of the picture and you see the blue fiberglass filter, those are the ones that you can pick up anywhere for $1 or so. And when you pick those up, you're going to find out that it's a MERV 1 through 5. Now they have better ones that are in the $2 and $3 and $4 range, and then you've got some that are down in the 50-cent range. Well, that's going to be that MERV 1 through 5. The better the MERV rating, the better it's going to remove dust from the air. Now, you'll notice that next to the lungs, it's green right there on that MERV 1 through 5, which means that the blower can move air through there very, very easily. And that does a great job. But if you look at the very bottom, you'll see that the dust is red. And that red means that it doesn't pick up very small dust. It picks up big particles. We call that quarters and small children, that it'll stop. So when you start looking at what do I need to be able to do to catch some of that other dust that's going into my house, well, that's when you start moving into the MERVs 5s through 11s. Now, they're going to be a little more restrictive, so your lungs are going to have to work harder to be able to get that air through that system, but they're going to catch smaller and smaller dust. Now, because they are still in a very small return air grill, they might load up very, very quickly. And so when they say that you can use those for 3 months, I'm going to tell you that it's very rare that you're going to get 3 months out of a 1-inch pleated filter. They're going to load up way sooner than that, and your system's going to be working way too hard to be able to get that air through there, unless you have an oversized return air, which I very, very seldom see that happening. So that's going to be a little bit harder on your lungs, so that'll be a yellow. And then when we get down into the types of dust, it can be good, but they're not going to be able to be in there very long before they need to be replaced again. So moving over to the MERV 8 to 14, you see that that's a 3 to a 5-inch pleated filter. So there's a deeper pleat, which means that you end up with more surface area. More area means that there's more area to trap the dust. It doesn't load up near as fast. And it allows the air to flow a little bit better as well. Typically, your deeper pleats, it allows more air to get through. So when you get into that 3 to 5-inch pleated filter, and a lot of them can fit into that 1-inch filter grill that you have in place right now, you can get a good filter that allows good air to move through there. Now, when you start getting into the 14s, you start getting into a very restrictive filter, and that's not going to allow the air to move through as well. Down in the 8s, yeah, the air is going to move through it fairly well. So again, knowing at which end of the spectrum you're going to be at for that is going to be important. If you feel like you need to catch all of the dust, everything that's flying through your air, and all of the germs and even viruses that float through the air, then you're going to need to get a HEPA filter. Now that will get some very, very small dust. It will get out everything that's floating around in your air. The HEPA filter will be able to do that. If we were rating the HEPA filter on a MERV rating, it would be somewhere in that 17 to 20 range. It is far better than anything that we've got out there, but the reason we can get far smaller particles out is because the HEPA filter has its own blower. Now this would be ducted into the house, and you would have a return air for your HEPA filtration system, and you'd have supply air as well. So it would be moving air throughout your house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and taking out all of the small dust and the big dust that's in the air. It will do a great job all the way down to 0.1 microns, the virus size dust that's in the air. So if you're really serious about removing dust from your home, the HEPA filtration system is going to be your better bet. So getting back to the question, how often do we change these filters? If we're looking at your basic throwaway, if you're looking at that fiberglass filter, you are looking at about every month. When you're looking at the 1-inch pleats, again, you're looking at every month those things need to be replaced. Now, if you're not running it for a month, obviously you're going to get a longer run time than that. You get into the extended pleats, you're looking at 3 to 6 months, or you could have your air conditioning contractor change that whenever they start doing their maintenances on your home. That's a good filter for that type of a setup. If you're really looking at the very best in filtration, you can get to that HEPA filtration system, and you're looking at a change out every 3 years. Now, it's going to be an expensive filter, more expensive than what everything else is being looked at as a typical filter, but is by far the best filter out there as well. So expense is going to be relative to how well the product is doing for you. So there you have it. How often you change your filter? It depends. I hope this helps.